Welcome to Walls on Wire. Today we're talking about Jagdeep Singh Deo's firm stance against the staggering request for 100 million ringgit in rent, allegedly owed by Penang to Kedah.
It's an explosive situation, really, and it's so much more than just the money, which is an absurd figure on its own.
Right. This whole thing, kicked off by the Kedah Menteri Besar, Mohamed Sanusi, it's gone way beyond a simple border dispute.
It has. It's now become this critical test of federal relationships, of long-standing agreements, and I think most importantly, of Penang's actual legal sovereignty.
And the whole narrative just shifted so fast, didn't it? One minute it's this kind of historical trivia, this old colonial land agreement.
And curiosity, yeah.
And the next, it's a full-blown political and legal challenge that could really shake things up.
And that's why Jagdeep Singh Deo's response has been so strategic. He hasn't just been playing defense. He's immediately gone on the attack, saying the whole thing is, and this is his phrase, without legal foundation.
It's a very specific choice of words. Without legal foundation.
It is. It signals that, from Penang's perspective, this isn't a negotiation. It's a non-starter. It's not about how much money. It's about the fact that the claim itself is invalid.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little. We've got this massive demand, 100 million ringgit, that could totally redefine how states cooperate in Malaysia. So why is Jagdeep appealing for, rationality and brotherhood when the other side is talking about lawsuits?
Well, he's trying to frame the whole debate, isn't he? He's positioning Penang as the reasonable one, the one committed to rational collaboration, which makes Kedah's move look confrontational and maybe even irresponsible.
So his message to Mohamed Sanusi is basically, look, you have a choice here.
Exactly. He's been very clear. He says they need to choose cooperation over confrontation for the good of both states and, for the nation as a whole.
And this isn't just empty political talk. He's backing up with some pretty deep personal history.
That's right. And I think this adds a lot of emotional weight to his argument. He brings up his late father, the legendary Karpal Singh.
The Democratic Action Party leader.
The very same. He points out that his father actually started his legal practice in Kedah and was even a Kedah State Assemblyman back in 1974.
So he's establishing a direct historical family link to both states? That's fascinating.
It's more than that. Jagdeep himself was born in Kedah, but he grew up in Penang. So he's saying, look, both of these places are home to me.
He's trying to bridge the gap personally.
Precisely. He talks about this neighborly and kinship-like friendly relationship that's existed for decades. He even calls it a model of peaceful coexistence since independence.
So by doing that, he frames Sanusi's demand as this unfortunate break from a sacred history.
Yes, and it also lets him be a little diplomatic. He suggested Sanusi might have been misled or misadvised on the matter.
Which is a polite way of saying the claim is based on bad information. But it does raise a big question, doesn't it? If the history is so positive and intertwined, why is this being pushed so hard now? It feels like politics is overriding that history.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the actual substance of the claim and why Jagdeep's legal counter is so blunt.
Okay, let's get into the weeds here. The 100 million ringgit, where's that coming from?
Well, it supposedly stems from these very old land agreements back in 1786 and 1791 when the Sultanate of Kedah ceded the islands to the British East India Company.
We're talking about documents from before the Federation of Malaya even existed, over a century and a half ago.
Way before. And back then, the British agreed to pay a stipend, which eventually became 10,000 ringgit a year. Kedah's argument is basically trying to update that payment for inflation and modern land values.
Which is how you get to 100 million. It's a huge jump. So what is Jagdeep's specific legal argument against this? How does the federal constitution just make it go away?
This is the crucial point. When the Federation of Malaya was formed and then gained independence in 1957, Penang's status was finalized. It became a sovereign, constituent state of the Federation.
On equal footing with Kedah and all the other states, so it's not a leased territory anymore.
Exactly. The federal constitution is the highest law of the land, and it superseded all those old colonial agreements about sovereignty and land tenure. The constitution codified Penang's status. It's not a tenant. It's a sovereign state.
So any lawsuit from Kedah would be, what, a challenge to the Constitution itself?
In essence, yes. And Jagdeep has made it very clear that Penang will not budge. He said they adhere to the law and are fully prepared to face the challenge head-on.
It's a very strong line in the sand. He promised they would resolutely defend Penang's sovereignty and state status.
It is. It transforms this from being about money into a fundamental battle over the definition of statehood in Malaysia. The sovereignty of Penang, as established by the Constitution, is simply not up for debate.
Okay, so with such a strong legal defense, it's interesting that he still bothers to extend an olive branch.
It's a really smart political move. First, you shut down the legal claim completely. Then you immediately pivot to collaboration.
It keeps him looking like the reasonable one.
Yes, and it shifts the conversation away from a backward-looking historical debt to a forward-looking economic partnership. He's basically saying, that argument is invalid, but let's talk about our shared future.
He brought up Penang's economic power, didn't he? Over 500 multinational companies, thousands of small and medium enterprises.
And he's not just bragging, he's presenting these as resources that Kedah could leverage. These are supply chains, talent pools, manufacturing hubs. He's suggesting they work together.
Advocating for regional synergy.
Right, and he used the perfect example, Kulim High-Tech Park. He made a point of saying that even though Kulim is technically a competitor to Penang for investment, the state government has never criticized it.
They see it as complementary.
Exactly, part of a bigger northern corridor economic ecosystem. A strong Kulim helps a strong Penang, and vice versa. It's a very modern way of looking at it.
Cooperation, not a zero-sum game. He even invited the Kedah Menteri Besar to visit and sit down to talk.
It's the ultimate power move. You reject their threat, and then you offer to help them. And it makes you wonder, what do you think about this? Does this kind of practical economic cooperation just make more sense than digging up colonial documents?
It really puts the other side in a corner.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads to the final point, which is maybe the most subtle jab of all.
Yes, the part that really questions the motivation behind this whole thing.
The fact that Mohamed Sanusi himself has deep roots in Penang. He's an alumnus of University Sains, Malaysia. He worked for the Consumers Association of Penang.
He knows the state inside and out. He studied there. He worked there. He understands the economic and social links firsthand.
So Jagdeep is subtly pointing out the hypocrisy.
Or at least the contradiction. He's suggesting that someone with such a deep personal understanding of both regions should know better. He should be the one advocating for cooperation, not confrontation.
It really makes his current stance seem perplexing.
It raises a very pointed question for the public. Why start this expensive, divisive legal fight over a colonial lease when your own history should tell you that collaboration is the better path? The risk to regional stability for a legally shaky 100 million ringgit claim seems disproportionate.
So in the end, we see Jagdeep fighting this on multiple fronts. You've got the emotional, historical appeal.
Leveraging his father's legacy, then the rock-solid constitutional legal defense.
And finally, the practical, forward-looking economic olive branch. It's a comprehensive strategy.
He's walking a very fine line. He's offering a path to rational discussion while also making it clear that there is zero tolerance for any claim that questions Penang's fundamental status.
And this whole dispute really forces us to think about where state sovereignty begins and ends. Can these old agreements really hold any weight against the federal constitution and the modern need for economic partnership?
It's a major situation to watch. Whatever happens here, whether it goes to court or is settled politically, the precedent it sets could end up shaping interstate relations across the entire country for years to come.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.